Hello and welcome back to the TGR Podcast. This is our first real video on the new channel in a new space. Yes, we are inside now. Got a little cold outside, okay? I'm not gonna sit out there in 32-degree weather. I'm pansy. I like to be warm. But anyway, we're inside now. We're in a completely new space. We've got a lot more history surrounding us. And I want you to look behind me. If you're watching this, if you're listening, don't worry about it. That's fine. But if you're watching, look behind me. And I want you to pick something that you see from behind me and comment it down below. Something that interests you, something that you want to know where it came from, you want to know what it is, what it does, and maybe even where I got it, I don't know. But if you want, just look back here. There's all kinds of stuff throughout the video. Just check it all out. There's some stuff kind of sitting over here and over here. We're on the tail end of Christmas, and I really hope that you all had a wonderful Christmas, a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you all are safe this New Year's Eve as we come into 2026. Speaking of 2026, the Garage R&R will have been around on YouTube for 2 years. We're going to hit our 2-year mark here this next month with our first video. That was on a 1967 Volkswagen Bug. It was a Will It Run. Excuse me. It was a Will It Start, not a Will It Run. And that video right there is what it started the snowball effect of everything that we've got going on right now. The whole reason why the TGR podcast exists is because I had originally started it on the Garage R&R channel, but because of YouTube and some algorithm stuff that was going on and confusing the heck out of it, I decided it was probably best to move it from the parent channel to its own separate channel, which is where we're at right now. We're on our own separate little channel, which means we also have to do a little bit of rebuilding. So if you've come over from the Garage R&R, thank you so much for joining me right back here in the shop. I know we're not in what looks like a shop right now, but we kind of are. It's just off to the side of the shop. Who says that you can't have a wonderful shop office, right? And when I say shop, I mean garage. It's just a garage. A 2-bay garage is all you need to do some great work, and then a nice space to sit and talk about it, right? So anyway, on top of that, if you're new here and you've never seen anything from the garage at all, and you're like, oh, who the heck is this guy? Well, I talk about cars. I love classic cars. I grew up with classic cars. When I was a little boy, like not even 1 year old, right? My mother had taken me to a grocery store, and we were going through, and there was these little cars on the wall, not like Matchbox cars, but like plastic little cars. And there was this little red one. It's like curved perfectly to fit in your palm. And I guess when I was a baby, I reached out for it. I chose that one. And it was this little, looks like a little red bug, little red Volkswagen Bug. And so that right there was my first little car. Then ever since then, I have never not had a car. Either when I was a little boy, but between 5 and 7, I had a Matchbox car in my pocket or 2 in my hands. Every time we went on vacation, I had to have my cars, I had to have them. And now, as I've gotten older, they've just gotten bigger. I've got a lot of them. So, but it is fun to be able to go out, find these cars, and do it affordably. All the cars that I try to go out and find are under that amount of money, that $1,000 amount of money and more. I try to find the ones that are less than that because, well, often those are the ones that need the most help, but not all the time, because we have that 64 Chevy that was also under $1,000 that we've actually gotten really, really lucky on. I can't stress that enough, like knock on wood kind of lucky. That truck right there was definitely well taken care of by its previous owners. Big shout out to them for doing that and for telling me the story. We will do a podcast episode on the story of that 1964 Chevy C10 shortly. Not in this episode, but maybe in a later episode, because that one right there has an awesome history. Maybe I'll give you just a little bit of it because I can't help myself. So that truck, that 1964 Chevy that we worked on this year, 2025, and I think we started in 2024, came from Becker Buick in Spokane, Washington, which still exists today, and I think it'd be really fun to drive that truck back to Becker Buick and take a picture of it there, just because that's where it was purchased from years ago by the first owner. The Garage R&R, myself, is only the second owner. Family-wise, right? So, great-granddad, or granddad, then dad, and then son, and then sold to the garage. That's how the storyline goes. So, really, it's had a couple owners, but they all kind of worked on it together, and now it's at its second family, the second owners of the truck. And we've got plans for it. We've got some serious. It's not just going to be one of those trucks that sits and collects dust. I've got some big ideas. We want to put that truck to use. These trucks were built. These cars, not just trucks, trucks, tractors. They were built to be used, not built to be put in the barn. And often, when you go out and find these classic cars that are a pretty decent amount of money, not too much, but not too little, right? That are barn finds is because, we don't want it to get wet. We don't want the rain on it. It's never seen rain in its life. It was built to be worked. They designed it to go and do some stuff, not to sit in a barn. Anyway, enough of that. I can get all fired up about that. What I mean by that is you've got these classic cars, right? There's some stout machines. Take them out and use them. Put them out on the open road. Enjoy them, because, I don't know, if one day they just will come down to the last old cars. I'm thinking that might be in the 23rd century, hopefully, not the 21st at any point, or even into the 22nd century. But speaking of future centuries and future generations being able to appreciate these cars, that is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why the Garage R&R exists. There's a story on the Garage and why it's called the Garage. In 2018, I know, now we're going back in time, right? In 2018, several years ago now, over 10 years ago, right? No, about 10 years ago. We're not that old yet. We're only coming into 2026, not 2028. So in 2018, a bunch of my buddies and I in high school, we got together, and we've been hanging out in the garage for a while. We've been hanging out there, enjoying each other's company, making stuff, working on projects, playing around with motorcycles, appreciating classic cars, but mainly just sitting around and enjoying each other's company. Decided that we needed a name. I don't know why. I think it just happened to come up in conversation. We're like, we need a name. We should name this. And so we went through a whole list of stuff. We had other places that we go hang out at that had a name, right? We had a place called the Penthouse up in the mountains, another place in a wheat field where they just didn't harvest or plant anything, called the Oasis. And we wanted something for here. And so we went through several names. And then one of the guys just piped up and said, well, why don't we just call it what we always call it, the Garage? What do you mean? Well, every time when we're texting each other, or we're on the phone, or we're seeing each other out and about at school, it's always, well, where are you at? Or where are you going to be at? Or what's going on? Or, well, we're going to be at the garage. And we all knew what that meant. And it wasn't just our small little group either. That extended out like a ripple effect to other people in town as well. I'd go down to the grocery store, our local grocery store in town, and people would ask, well, what's going on in the garage? And so that's kind of where that name started. And in 2018, I had to make a sign for a project, a school project, and I made, like, on the AutoCAD. If you've ever had to do anything on an AutoCAD or a laser cutter, can't remember what they're called, but they're super neat. I'd love to get one. Yep, not coming to mind. If you know what it's called, if you remember what the laser cutter is, its actual term, please put that down in the comments below. But anyway, I had to do a project, and so I put this whole thing out, and I had the laser cutter cut out a sign that said The Garage Automotive Restoration 2018. That was kind of when we minted the idea of that name, and so that's hung on the wall now, as a matter of fact, as the sign, and that's where The Garage R&R came from. There's still another R&R, but I've only said The Garage Automotive Restoration, right? We'll get into that other R here in a second. After 2018, we had, a couple more good years of just hanging out, having fun, putting on spectacular 4th of July events, pooling together a whole bunch of money to go buy some awesome fireworks and then wiring them together to put on quite a show for the town. And then 2020 happened. And 2020 was a wild ride. The very beginning of 2020, our entire region flooded. Like everything flooded. All the neighboring cities, the large cities in the central part of the state, up north, down south, everything flooded, including the little town that I live in. And so this little town, it was just half of the town flooded. And so I had gotten a phone call at 4:30 in the morning. And normally I don't answer my phone at that early in the morning. It's like, I'm asleep, man. But I had gotten 2 to 3 phone calls from the same person, same group of people, in a matter of 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, something's wrong. I answered the phone and I got, how are you this morning? And I had said, I don't know yet. I'm still waking up. And the guy on the other side was like, yeah, well, you should get some boots on and get in your Jeep and come on down here and help me out. And I was like, what do you need? Well, I'm standing in about a foot of water in my living room. What? Yep. So that's how 2020 started for the garage. And so for the next 2 days, Buddy and I were, because everybody was out of town. It's like every time when everybody's out of town is when everything hits the fan, right? And so everybody was out of town. My buddy and I, we hopped in my old Jeep, and it's not really that old, 96 Jeep Cherokee XJ, which at the time it played a very big part in the garage because I wanted to go out and do recoveries, right? There's another guy out here on YouTube that does recoveries, and he used to use a Jeep Cherokee to go out and do that. And I thought that was a pretty swell idea years ago. Then come to mind that there was already 5 off-road tow groups in the area. But hey, young and hopeful, right? But anyway, it did come in handy, and that's kind of what started a new direction for the garage. And so during the flood, we had gone out and we had to move livestock because everything had flooded. I mean, it was a river through a good half of the town. And so moving sandbags, trying to help people out, get their stuff out, ferrying people that couldn't get out of the water to places where they could just be out of the way, being a pilot car because they had to close off the highways and nobody knew what to do, nobody knew where to go, nobody had been preparing for this flood. The last flood that happened in this area was back in 1998. And apparently that was a pretty big flood, and people were calling this flood even bigger than the one in 1998. So it was a pretty good size one, I will say. I mean, even still today, 5 years later, you can still see remnants of that flood, which is wild, but this is how it goes. And so after the flood, I had gotten in with the local Christian church, and we were part of the relief effort. The American Red Cross had come in, the National Guard, and then there was the garage, me and my buddies, and the Christian church. We all got together, headquartered out of it's an old Wild West looking kind of church. It's a super cool building. It's built back in like 1865 or whatever. Cool old building. But anyway, we ran out of that, and we were delivering water, food, blankets, telling people that you can go to the church, everything like that, and then helping people clear roads, fix their fences. There was mud everywhere. The cleanup process took more than a couple days, but did what we could until the end of spring came, which was May or end of May, beginning of June of 2020, when our entire world went into a fun little vacation that lasted more than 2 weeks, which impacted the garage pretty heavily. At one time, a house and garage full of people coming in and out, hanging out all the time, went to 0 in a matter of minutes and a day, because we all had to stay home and stay safe, right? And so that right there kind of felt like it might have been the end for any of that dream, but really that was only just a beginning, because I never gave up on that idea of starting something on my own. And so at that point, I figured maybe the garage automotive restoration should include something called recovery, the second R, the Garage R&R. And so I started going out and doing little recoveries for people, embellishing on an idea that I had before, and because I wasn't asking for money, I just wanted to help people. And so I would go up in our local mountains and I'd tow people out. No charge. Didn't matter if you drove a Toyota or not. I was in a Jeep, but that was fun for a while. And then, like all things, I tried it. It was all right. And then I had to go get a degree. So I went and got a degree in diesel technology, and then went straight to work after that. I'd put everything, all those ideas on hold, just put them off to the side, because it was more important for me to sock my money away and get an education. And so I worked in the ag industry for about 3 years before I decided that I needed to if I'm gonna do it, I need to do it now. I'm only getting older. And so I made the decision, I put my foot down. It's scary, a very scary decision. And I'm living it now, still scary, very scary decision to do. But to go out, strike out on my own, and start my own business. Part of that business is what we're doing right now. So it's excitingly scary, right? You never know what you're getting into until you start doing it. And it's one thing to sit there and watch it on the TV and go, oh yeah, that was great. I could totally go out, and that's 100%. It's very different than what you would normally think. Once when I got into doing this, it was like posting a few videos and things are doing fine, things are going well, and then 2025 happened and they changed the algorithm here on YouTube, which changed how videos were shared, viewed, and seen. But that's something for a completely different video. Whole other video. Back on track. It was a completely different ball of yarn when I started going out and doing this, and I'm so glad that I went out and did it. I am still terrified though, right? So I'm sharing this journey with each and every one of you, and for those of you who have joined me on this journey, have been here since the very beginning, you know who you are. Thank you so much for sticking around. Things have changed a lot. I'm hoping I'm a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera. Used to being behind or in front of the TV, not behind the camera. There's a thing that somebody had said, that you hit a point to where you are no longer the TV. You're no longer the person in front of the TV, but you're the person making the TV. And it takes you a minute to realize that until you're actually doing it. And I totally messed that all up, but it was something along those lines. It was really good. Very much better than what I just said. But if you have an idea, doesn't matter how old you are or what stage of life that you're in, if you have an idea that you want to strike out and do something yourself, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. take a little bit of time here, a little bit of time there. Take a few years, sock your money away, and then do something super scary and just go all in. That's what I did. It's all a gamble. And you just got to play your cards right. And have faith while you're doing it. You can't get anywhere without having some faith. So, it can be difficult. It can be trying. It can get angry sometimes and try to figure out why the heck am I even doing this. But then you always have to remind yourself that you're not doing it just because you want to do this or do that. I started this because I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to share this with people. And I hope that after you watch a TGR video, no matter if it's on the podcast or if it's on our parent channel, which if you haven't checked out our parent channel already, please go do so. We post every other Friday right now on that, just all kinds of good stuff. Classic cars, I revive classic cars. I'm going to pivot again. When I say we need to go back to the R's because we went away from that. I got all kinds of messed up there. We started talking about all kinds of stuff. Really got into a deep conversation there, and that's okay. That's what makes this podcast different from, say, maybe another podcast, is I do not script these at all. I script a couple of them. If it's something that I really want to get across, really want to talk about, I'll put something off to the side or have some paper here and I'll read off of that. But a good majority of the time, it's just us sitting here chatting. It's shop talk. And I know I'm the one doing all the talking right now, but be commenting down below because in the next episode, I will talk about what was said in the comment section. Oh, and on top of that, you can comment, like post to the community. So there's a whole tab that you can post to on it, like you're like posting to Instagram or Facebook. You can just post yourself. You don't have to post under videos. I think you can post pictures and text. I don't think you can do anything like post little short videos, but you can post images and text. And I would love to see what you're working on, what you're up to, what the morning looks like outside your front porch, whatever you want to do, what have you. Either both on TGR Podcast or even on our parent channel, the Garage R&R. And speaking of that second R, notice how our name is a little different than what it was when I first started. When I first started, this was called the Garage Automotive Restoration and Recovery. But now it's called the Garage Automotive Restoration and Revival. I found that revival was a bit more of what I'm doing. The last name was a bit misleading, I feel. This new name is I think hits right on the money, because when I go and tell people would ask me, what do you do? I said, well, I restore classic cars. They'd instantly go to the $50,000 restoration, $50,000 and up restoration. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing more like a $4. But I'm restoring cars, but I'm more of reviving them. So I'm going out into who knows where, or finding who knows what, and getting a car, truck, tractor that's been sitting off to the side of the barn for who knows how many years. And then I'm either getting it running there or I'm loading it up and bringing it here and trying to get it running. But then I'm trying to do everything affordably. So I'm not buying new parts. We've got some really bad fenders on this new project. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to repair that. And same thing with the door. The driver door has got the same dent in the side of it. So we're going to try to repair that as well. Instead of buying new parts, we're going to revive what we have and try to do it as affordably as possible. So you don't have to do those. I'm trying to show that you don't have to have $1 million shop to do $1 million work, because it's all about the craft. You also don't have to have a college degree to do it. If you've got a little bit of know-how and you're a little bit mechanical, or you want to learn and become mechanical, you can if you know how to read, and I'm saying at a 4th grade reading level, you can do whatever you want to do. Anything, but you have to be able to read. And a lot of the mechanics that you do nowadays, you can just whip out your phone, type it in and go, how do I do that? And then it'll try to tell you. But what I have found is when you go and get a book, a physical copy, a physical book that you can hold in your hand. All right, we're going to go into this. I know I said I wasn't going to, but if you get a physical book, right now I'm going to grab the Model T Ford car book just for an example. When you grab the actual book itself, so we could go look up how to work on a, let's see here, 1915 Ford Model T, right? And then the internet will come up with some information and tell you how to do it. Or you can just go find a book, and I understand maybe it's hard to find books, but you can find the printouts. Or you can ask a guy like me and I will make printouts or take pictures and share it with you. You know, I've got a whole library here of books. I love books. Books are so much fun. But anyway, you can go into these books and you'll find information that you won't find on the internet. You can probably find this picture, but it's going to take you a while. But then once you do find it on the internet, you probably can't read what all these little lines are pointing to. And then there's a whole little information section that they put in it. And so going out and actually finding the real book where you can find stuff like this and then have the information around it, that will tell you basically how to restore and revive classic cars. And that is, in my opinion, the best way to do it. And that's why I say I'm reviving cars. And that's what the Garage R&R is. The Garage Automotive Restoration and Revival. My dream is to one day be able to do these Jay Leno restorations, you know, where he goes through, frame off, bolt off, everything's in pieces. Basically a full remanufacture of this car so that it's basically winding that odometer all the way back to zero on everything. I'd love to be able to get to that point because I have a dream that in the 22nd century, a Model T will still be around and still be a reliable car. Because I think that we're stewards. Yes, we own them during our lifetime, but then somebody else will own it. Somebody else will take it on and somebody else will do something with it. So we're only stewards of these things, and it's our job as enthusiasts, as up-and-coming enthusiasts, and as old enthusiasts to keep them around for future generations to appreciate, or for people who want to get into this to appreciate. And that, I've had some podcast episodes where there's some things that happened that got a bad rap on the car community, but there are subcultures upon subcultures upon subcultures within the car community. Heck, after 1945, when all of the GIs came back home, and they had their little Willys Jeeps driving around, and they do the little Jeep wave, V for victory, they would do that because they brought their Jeep back home with them. That was part of their war effort. That was part of their, by golly dang it, that that Jeep got me home. That Jeep kept me alive. That Jeep was a trusty steed in the worst of times. And so that right there created a community after World War II, a subculture within the automotive community, and kind of pioneered the 4x4 culture, who started back in these days. Yeah, no, they didn't have four-wheel drive versions of these, but don't think that they weren't taking these little cars where you're not supposed to take them. One of these crossed the Rubicon before a Jeep did, okay? There used to be a restaurant up there at the top of the Rubicon that they have, I think they have the restaurant's not there anymore, but they have a picture of the restaurant at the top of the Rubicon with some of these parked at it. Now, I imagine that the wagon road that went up there was a bit nicer than the road today, but it's the fact of the matter. You know, you don't know that history until somebody starts sharing it with you. And I've had videos where I've gone to car shows and interviewed the owners of their project, and some of the stories that they give are awesome. Passing that knowledge forth so that I can tell it to you, and then you can tell it to someone else, and we can keep that chain going, keep that history alive. But yeah, and it's like with books, they'll probably tell little stories in here that all of this was something that they learned through trial and error and then passed it down. And that's all we can do for the next round of folks. But that's what the TGR Podcast is. That's what the garage is. And I hope you appreciate this new area. I know I like it because got all this old stuff I can share with you. And I don't have to be outside in the cold anymore, which is super nice. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing podcasts outside, but I definitely think this is a nicer space to be in. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for stopping by the garage today. No matter where we are, what channel we're on, we're all the same garage. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it's 100% free. And turn on the notification bell so you know when new uploads are coming. If you haven't already, go out and check out our parent channel, the Garage R&R. And I will see you all right back here in the next podcast episode on a Wednesday in 2026. So Happy New Year. Happy Merry late Christmas. And I will see you all right back here at the table and we'll chat some more.